Hi, my name is Max Goldstein. You're on Max Jet Review. Today we are flying a Hawker. Hawker Model 125 is an airplane with British heritage. It was manufactured for over 50 years. Let's figure out why is it so popular and is it still worth it. In 1988, Angolan MiG-23 piloted by a Cuban pilot shot 2 air-to-air missiles into Hawker with Botswana president. The first missile hit right engine separated from the fuselage, and the second missile luckily hit this engine. The airplane successfully landed. Do you think Hawker is so strong, or were the missiles not so good? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. When you approach a Hawker, you can see its classical looks. You know it's not a modern airplane. Look at this door. It's round, it's got those bolts all over the place. To open it, you pull a handle, and you actually need to be pretty strong to do it. Then the door opens like this. And we've got a nice compartment for all the covers over here inside the door. Hawker has 3 angle of attack indicators. If any one of 3 angle of attack indicators shows that the airplane is approaching a stall, you will get a stick shaker. If any 2 out of 3 shows that the plane is approaching a stall, you will get a stick pusher. By the way, the stick pusher is actually hydraulic in this airplane. Our pitot tube, our static port for instruments. And look at this classic ice detector. It actually spins, and if the ice forms on it, the torque will increase and it will indicate that you have ice in the cockpit. Okay, so you think you're a business jet pilot, so you should wear a white shirt, right? But in reality, you're gonna be sweating like that, because to remove the pin from nose gear, you have to go down here, undo this thing, and it's pretty strong. Reach out, get the pin, now go in here and check in the hydraulic pressure. Now we need to connect the nose wheel steering. Nose wheel steering is also hydraulic in this airplane. To do this, we need to remove the pin. Then you need to align the steering mechanism with the nose wheel, insert the pin, and make sure it's all secured. On this side we have all the same sensors. Even though Hawker is a pretty big airplane, maximum takeoff weight of this one of 750 is 27,000 pounds. We have TK8 for wing anti-icing. I guess it is due to engines being not as powerful as they could have been. Hawker still requires pretty long runways. A lot of times you need like a 5,000-foot runway, and then also when you take off, you have to shut off the bleed from the engines. So you're taking off unpressurized. I guess it could use more power. Hawker has manual controls. There is no hydraulic system in controls. When you turn the yoke, you got push rods, wires and bell cranks which transfer the motion into the ailerons. To relieve the control forces, you got the servo top. So whenever the aileron goes up, this goes down and vice versa. And let's be honest, it looks pretty lousy. But on controls, it's very sharp. So here we need to remove the pin and just look at the general condition of the landing gear. Checking the oil level and oil filter bypass indicator. Checking thrust reversers. We got hydraulic thrust reversers here. This is actually an anti-servo tap, so it actually increases control forces. This is the only anti-servo tap on the plane. Everything else is servo taps. Most of the Hawkers that we see today are Hawkers 800, 850, 950, and they all have ventral tank in the back. So this is a 750. We got a baggage compartment. But baggage compartment, you can't really put a lot of stuff in it. It's kind of small and the form factor is not the best. You can see that Textron just removed the tank. So now this airplane, the 750, has 1,600 pounds less fuel, and that's about an hour less. Checking hydraulic pressures in hydraulic accumulators, thrust reversal accumulator, connecting the batteries, and checking fire extinguisher pressure. One is over here and one is down here inside the baggage compartment. Checking that we have all 3 pins, and we're gonna put them away in the door compartment. Battery on, checking voltage not less than 23 volts. Hawker has 6 batteries. Put this one on transfer and use the second knob. Now we can start APU fuel pump on, APU master on, lamp test, then old school fire bell test, and start the APU. Generator on. If we see the arrow pointing up, we need to look up at the roof panel. Now we're gonna go ahead and do some tests. This is the stick shaker, we're checking both. And we're gonna check the stick pusher. I'm gonna hold 2 stall warnings. Engine fire, cancel bell, fire, fire, fire. HP overheat, ice detector test, ice. Cabin altitude. Now we're gonna open oxygen. We're gonna check the quantity, and then we can turn on bleed air, which is gonna provide a lot of wanted cool air into the cockpit. In Hawker we have control lock and rudder lock. The ceiling height in Hawker is 5 feet 9 inches. That's about the same as the Premier Jet. By the way, if you didn't see my Premier Jet review, link will appear up here and at the end of this video. The seats swivel around and they turn into a flat bed. So what you can do, you can put your feet on this seat and then it turns into a full bed. Right now we are on the ground and we are getting air conditioning without a GPU because we have an APU. APU is basically a small gas turbine engine. A lot of times if you fly airliners, you can hear when you board the plane. You hear this engine, but the jet engines are actually not running. That's a small gas turbine engine that provides air and electricity for us. In the back we have a 3-place divan and more baggage space and externally serviced toilet. Special touch, look at this classic. Hawker has a small kitchen with different compartments and cabinets. You got a compartment for rubbish, cabinet for ice, and another cabinet. By the way, this is the only baggage compartment in most of the Hawkers. This is a 750, but most of the Hawkers are 800s or 850s or 950s. They all have ventral tank instead of the baggage compartment that we saw outside. So this is the main baggage compartment, and we got a baggage compartment in the back next to the toilet. Here we got a couple of more compartments. We got a DVD player in 21st century. Welcome to aviation. And we got a single point refueling panel. So you cannot just call an FBO and ask them to refuel the plane. You actually have to come in and turn on this panel to refuel the plane. A lot of knobs in the cockpit are actual mechanical knobs. Check this out. High pressure cocks, low pressure cocks, fuel transfer. The fuel transfer is an actual manual valve. And it's really interesting the way it operates. You can go into transfer and then any engine can take fuel from any tank, and then what's going to determine which fuel is going to be used is in what tank the fuel pump is on. So Hawker actually sucks fuel, right? So if you want to suck fuel into the right tank, you have to turn on right fuel pump instead of left one, like on many other airplanes. Nose wheel steering is accompanied only by the tiller. Rudder does not steer nose wheel, even on takeoff. It's not really convenient, so to speak. In more modern airplanes, usually you get a high angle of turn with the tiller and low angle of turn with the rudder. So now we completed our weight setup, and our takeoff weight for today is going to be 20,650 pounds. That's almost 6,500 pounds less than the maximum takeoff weight for our Hawker. So today with flaps 0, our takeoff distance will be 4,000 feet. With flaps 15, the balance field length is 4,084 feet. So with flaps 15, we actually need more distance. So we sent our speeds, and the speeds automatically appear on the PFD. Very convenient. And remember I said that we need a long runway when I was walking around the plane? Well, think about it. We are very light. We are 6,500 pounds below our max takeoff weight, and our balance field length is already 4,000 feet. I think that's a lot for a pretty light airplane. Starting engine check.
Start checks, brakes,
Set.
parked, beacon lights on, engine computer.
On, lights
Test.
out. Tested and lights out.
Okay, fuel pumps.
On, lights out.
Start power.
On. Ready to start. Right side clear.
Right side clear.
Okay, starting engine number 2, right engine start, N2 rotates, waiting for N1, fuel is on, ITT is rising, and I'm guarding the high pressure cock to shut down engine in case of any start malfunction. Hydraulic pressure is good, starting engine number 1, left side clear, left engine start, N2 rotates, N1, start power off, alternators on, screen hit on, heater on, checking this, turning it off because it's so hot in Miami, engine NTI is on, watching for ITT increase. So Hawkers, they seem so ruggedly built, but in reality they require quite a lot of maintenance. So in a Hawker you need to take off with bleed air from the engine. So on this particular Hawker we can use APU bleed for takeoff, otherwise it would be very, very hot here in Miami. Then at 400 feet, Ruslan will turn on the engine bleed air valve. By the way, Hawker only has engine-driven hydraulic pumps. So if this system fails, you have an auxiliary hydraulic system. You take this handle, insert it here, start pumping, and the gear will come down. And you can select the flap position with the hydraulic flap handle. They will also come down. Let's do a rudder bias check. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna turn off rudder bias. And rudder bias is the system that helps us counteract asymmetric thrust in case of an engine failure. So now we get no rudder bias, rudder is not moving. If we get one channel on, we're gonna get a small kick, two channels on, big kick, and if we turn on thrust reversers, rudder bias turns off. Now we gotta do the same with another engine. You got the tops. Okay, ARP the APR. Check, I got control. V1 rotate. Gear up, please. Your damper on. Checked. At 400 feet. So the very first thing you can feel is a Hawker is very sharp on handling. So we were talking about that Hawker needs two pilots, right? Most of the planes that I reviewed on my channel actually were single pilot. Does second pilot add safety? Well, in a modern airplane, the chances that you're gonna need the second pilot in case pilot dies are really low, especially since Airbus and other systems like Garmin are developing auto-land systems, emergency auto-land systems that will be able to choose their airport and land on their own. I will do some steep turns, just like I usually do on my reviews. Let's do a stall, let's see how it stalls. Flaps 15, flaps 15, flaps 15. Wait. Positive rate gear up. So this airplane is a Hawker 750. It only has 8,400 pounds. It doesn't have the ventral tank, which has 1,600 extra pounds. So it only has 2,000 nautical mile range, which means you can get a CJ3 Plus or a CJ4, which will have approximately the same range, but it will burn almost twice less fuel, and it will be a lot cheaper to maintain. You only need one pilot. It's a single pilot airplane, whether in a Hawker you need two. If you go into the Hawker 800 series or 850, which has the ventral tank, that gives you about 2,500 nautical miles range. If you go into Hawker 950, which has better engines, more fuel efficient engines, then you get almost 3,000 nautical mile range. So this is the good airplane. Hawker 700s, 800s and 900s, they all have common type rating. So if you get an HS 125 type rating, you are good to fly any of them. Okay, we have information Yankee. I'll set up ILS 9 left, and the frequency should auto-tune. Temperature is 33. We have a pretty light airplane. and anti-ice off, and I'm gonna send the speeds. So now our reference speed will be 117, and obviously we'll do just a visual approach. I'll start our descent back down to 7,500, and we need 4,100 feet to land, even with this light airplane. Now we're under class Bravo, so we should maintain below 200 knots, and angle of attack comes in handy. We know that we should not fall below 0.6 of angle of attack.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Hawker is a very nice airplane, easy to handle, but maintenance-wise, it requires love, let me put it this way. On the other hand, you can buy a 93 to 95 Hawker 800 with a pretty good range at the price of a CJ. Now, as of August 23, you can buy it probably for around 1.5 million. An airplane like this would cost you closer to 3 million with Proline 21, a more modern one. 950 can run you as much as, it's probably starting from around 5 million. Let me know if you need help finding a plane or help training and mentoring yourself or pilots. I think everybody should learn to fly if you like it. It's actually easier than you think. Today you saw a Hawker. Hawker is a pretty big airplane, but it flies just like any other airplane. As a pilot, you will enjoy it. Even though it's a two-pilot airplane, well, I think it should be a single-pilot airplane. As an owner, it's got a pretty big cabin, it's got a outside serviceable lab, but maintenance-wise, you might have some trouble with it. On the other hand, you can hire a management company and they will take your headache out. We do management, we do sales. Let me know what you think about this plane. Ask me questions in the comments down below. I answer all my comments. See you next time.